And yes, age is an issue. I'm a grown man running against a 6-year-old. Well, I feel great. I really feel great. I'm campaigning all over the country. Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. I've always done well in the original 13 colonies. And speaking of history, did you hear what Donald just said about the major Civil War battle?
Gettysburg, wow.
Quote, Gettysburg, wow. Trump's speech was so embarrassing, the statue of Robert E. Lee surrendered again.
Joe Biden destroyed Donald Trump, but not how you think. Biden proved yet again the difference between him and Donnie Indictable is that only one of them gets a joke.
Now, to all my friends in the press and Fox News, the New York Times issued a statement blasting me for, quote, active and effectively avoiding independent journalism. Hey, if that's what it takes to get the New York Times to say I'm active and effective, I'm for it. It's okay.
The Correspondents' Dinner is an annual event where everybody buckles up and a comedian skewers the powerful. It takes a thick skin, guts, and a sense of humor, which explains why Trump never attends.
The problem is people are always going to compare your first term to Obama's. But I think there are actually a lot of positive similarities. You both made big strides in healthcare. Obama got us out of a recession. You got us out of a pandemic. Obama got bin Laden. You got OJ. And by the way, now that OJ's dead, who is the new frontrunner for Trump's VP?
No one likes to be the butt of a joke, but there's a little secret there. When you're made fun of because of something you lack, here's how you win. You double down on that. I once saw an overweight female comic on stage and somebody yelled, "You're fat." And she said, "You're right, but I can lose weight and you'll always be stupid." She embraced her vulnerability, and that's why Joe Biden is the guy.
My grandfather was another rare Irishman who didn't drink because he lost his father and his brother to alcoholism. And I swear, Mr. President, this is not an age comparison. You remind me of him. Some of your best qualities remind me of his. And I will say he was 95 and he was still great at stairs. I think it's because he didn't try to run up them.
We all know that Donald Trump is mentally ill, but there's a deeper and darker sickness there.
With the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Over the years, Trump's cognitive decline has always had at its foundation a weak and insecure personality disorder surrounded by a sociopathic narcissism. And that's his good side.
Now, Sleepy Joe would say...
And I would like to point out, it's after 10 p.m. Sleepy Joe is still awake. While Donald Trump has spent the past week falling asleep in court every morning.
Sociopaths are unable to self-deprecate, unable to make fun at their own expense because they don't see the irony that honesty and humility bond strong people together.
But before I begin tonight, can we just acknowledge how refreshing it is to see a president of the United States at an event that doesn't begin with a bailiff saying, "All rise."
And Donald Trump is neither honest, humble, or strong. But do you know who is?
But look, age is the only thing we have in common. My vice president actually endorses me.
All you have to know about Trump is that he has never, ever made fun of himself. Never. Now, there's a reason why that is. Tiny Finger's mental illness is so profound, he's incapable of understanding the nature of humor.
There is an election. There's an election 6 extremely long months from now. So let me see if I can summarize where this race stands at this moment. The Republican candidate for president owes $500 million in fines for bank fraud and is currently spending his days farting himself awake during a porn star hush money trial, and the race is tied?
Which isn't about attacking the weak and vulnerable, but instead speaking truth to power. Humor is a tool that can be used to assail the powerful, and only in a free and open democracy is it allowed. In the U.S., there's a long tradition of punching up to power, and sometimes at a heavy cost to the comedian, as the Smothers Brothers learned during the Vietnam War when CBS canceled them because of a joke.
Our government is asking us as citizens, good citizens, to refrain from traveling to foreign lands. Okay, all you guys in Vietnam, come on home.
And then there was this moment, ad-libbed by Dan Rather, that revealed the real Nixon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dan Rather with CBS News. President, are you running for something? No, sir, Mr. President, are you? Mr. President.
Did you see the hate in Nixon's eyes? He, like Trump, suffers from a mental illness that makes self-deprecation impossible because they lack the ability of self-examination.
But no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
Trump doesn't even crack a smile. But you know what he could have done? He could have smiled. He could have given a thumbs up, like, good one, Obama, and that would have proved the joke was wrong, or at least that Trump was strong enough to take a jab. But the joke isn't wrong. Trump is sick, and humor is his arch enemy.
Trump media is here. Trump media, not at a table, just screaming loudly in the corner to no one.
And as you heard last night, Colin Jost went after everybody, from the New York Times to the New York Post to Fox News, even C-SPAN.
Tonight, this event is being televised live on C-SPAN. Woo! And if you're at home watching C-SPAN on a Saturday night, I hope they find your body soon, before your cats get to it.
And of course, not everyone thought Jost was funny.
There are so many incredible individuals here tonight. Laura Trump is here tonight. Okay, I got one woo. She recently released a cover of the song I Won't Back Down. Upon hearing it, Tom Petty died again. I can't believe I'm saying this to a member of the Trump family, but maybe stick to politics?
Fat Donnie, from the safety of his Mar-a-Lago toilet, was tweeting away.
The White House Correspondents' dinner was really bad. Colin Jost bombed. Crooked Joe was an absolute disaster.
Trump is clearly incapable of any other response other than to attack. And not only has it become old and predictable, but it's getting worse. Trump's anger is in direct correlation to his mental decline. And of course, for comedians, it's a freaking gold mine.
The New York Post is like having the New York Times summarized for you by a crackhead.
Colin Jost attacked both sides and was unmercifully hilarious. But as you can see, Biden took it like a man, a feat that Trump is colossally unable to pull off. Trump's threat to shut down liberal media, however, shows you his intolerant attitude toward criticism. Imagine an unhinged, immunized Trump being mocked. It wouldn't be pretty.
The audience hit back, and that's what we need, a little bit more of.
Biden has proven time and time again he's tougher than Trump on every level you can be tough.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen. Here's a great example of the difference between Dems and MAGA. After Biden destroyed at the State of the Union, where he made a joke at his own expense.
If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Jesse Waters came out and said Biden must have been on drugs.
All of a sudden, this guy is like amped. On speed or something, Jessica.
So then Colin Jost used that for a hilarious premise.
It's also wonderful to be back in Washington. I love being in Washington. The last time I was in D.C., I left my cocaine at the White House. Luckily, the president was able to put it to good use for his State of the Union. By the way, can you blame the guy for turning to cocaine? He must be exhausted, orchestrating 4 separate trials against his rival, rigging the Super Bowl, and gearing up to steal a second election. Wow. I love, by the way, that Trump's 2 attacks on President Biden are that he's a senile old man and a criminal mastermind. I'm like, I think you gotta pick one.
Next time you get into an argument with a MAGA, cite the roaring economy, the border bill that Trump defeated, the stock market, and Biden's infrastructure funding. But the real question is, can your guy take a joke? Now, there's probably better than even odds the person you're talking to can't, because humor is a sign of our evolution, an awareness of our mortality and our shortcomings, which brings us together, in theory, because when you're the butt of a joke and smile, people are drawn to you.
But my grandfather, a Staten Island firefighter, voted for you, Mr. President. He voted for you in the last election that he ever voted in. I mean, I'm sure someone else will vote twice in this election using his name, but that's just how the Democratic machine works. He voted for you, and the reason that he voted for you is because you're a decent man. My grandpa voted for decency, and decency is why we're all here tonight. Decency is how we're able to be here tonight.
When Nietzsche said that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I don't know for sure, but the next thing he might have said is, pull my finger. Sorry you had to see that.
Who's with me?
Hi, what's up?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Thank you so much for watching. You know, YouTube frequently penalizes my videos for taking on controversial subjects, hurting our ability to earn ad revenue, which we use to hire more hosts and make more videos. We think it's so important to make these videos now and expose a Republican cult. So please join us on Patreon. The link is in the comments. We literally can't make these without you. Thank you so much. For Really American Media,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.